Editing workflows is the area where Admin Toolbox for Jira probably offers the most improvements, both in the general transition overview as well as when editing a specific transition. So looking at this transition editing screen for the pending transition, you might already have noticed the additional tab for transition properties. These properties, both for transition properties as well as status properties, are normally hidden a bit more behind this button in the corner, so we decided to give them a more prominent place. In addition, we included some autocomplete and set property suggestion, making working with the properties even easier. Continuing over to the conditions, validators, and post functions, we added a helpful copy feature. Below, you can see the condition that we saw in the workflow report as usual. But above that, you can select any workflow and any transition from that workflow that includes a condition. And then the configuration from that workflow is shown, and with a single click of the copy button, you can bring one of the elements over to your current workflow. Jumping over to the post functions, we can select the same workflow and, for example, the approved transition, of which we have much more complicated configurations, as you can see. No matter how complicated though, the whole configuration can be copied still with a single click of this button to your current workflow. When we close the copy window, we see that the new post function was added to the very end of the list, which brings us to our next feature, drag and drop reordering. You can just click the sort button at the top of the workflow, which collapses all configurations to give you a better overview. Then you can move the newly added post function to where you need it by drag and dropping it around. This saves you from moving it around step by step using the small arrow buttons that Atlassian provides. We added similar drag and drop to a few other places, but for now I want to stay in the workflow management as there is still more to show here, especially in the overview area of a workflow. The first thing you notice on the text view of the workflow is the create transition, which is usually only accessible in the diagram view. In addition to the create transition, we added, again, helpful filters as on many other admin pages. The other additional functions can be found in the admin toolbox menu up here. Similar to copy a single validator or post function, there's the copy function here that lets you copy a whole transition with all its elements. So I can select the workflow, I can select the transition, and then specify where to put the transition in my current workflows. For example, I can put it between the status to do and done. And then I have to specify a name. In this case, I have to specify a different one because there already is an approved transition in this step. And then I can select a screen to add to the transition, and I can select whether all configuration elements connected to the transition should be copied over, or, for example, only the conditions or only the post functions. After I've configured everything, the click of the copy button makes Admin Toolbox do all the heavy lifting for me, and all the complicated post functions get copied over to my new approved transition here. So besides saving time, of course, this also prevents any errors that could stem from manual copying here. The second feature that Admin Toolbox adds is the sorting feature. As experienced Jira admin know, if you want to order your transitions to the way you want them in the issue view, you need to modify a specific transition property called opsbar-sequence to basically prioritize the transitions at the background. So you have to calculate and manually set the opsbar-sequence transition property on every single transition that you want to give a specific order, and then you have to keep track of them across the different statuses and the different transitions, which you'll probably do by using something external like a Confluence site. What App and Toolbox gives you instead is a menu that lets you just drag and drop your transitions around to the order that you want them for all those statuses at once. And it keeps automatically track of the correct opsbar-sequence values in the background that give you exactly this order. And as soon as you hit save down here, the changes necessary to the opsbar-sequence values are written to all the transitions in the background at once.